welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We are going to talk about preparedness today. Now you've got your canned goods, your water jugs, your flashlights, but if that's all you're relying on, you might not be ready for an emergency. Now everybody knows we need food, water, and shelter. That has been talked about over and over again, so I am not going to waste your time with that. Instead, I want to talk about the parts of prepping that most people don't talk about, and these are the things that tend to be forgotten until it's too late. And you do not want to be caught in a bad situation without any one of these items or strategies. Let's get right to it with number one and kind of number two. How will you use the bathroom? We're talking no septic, no running water, and yet remaining sanitary is critical. Illness from poor waste disposal can take you out faster than hunger. I completely understand why this topic is not addressed in most videos because it is hard to do gracefully, but we are going to try and do our best today. So with that said, let me introduce you to the 2-bucket method. We have a bucket for number one and a bucket for number two. And yes, they need to stay separate. Here's why. Urine is mostly sterile, and when diluted, it can usually be poured out safely on grass or soil. It breaks down quickly and doesn't pose much of a health risk. Feces, on the other hand, is full of dangerous bacteria and pathogens, and if you mix the two, it becomes a wet, sludgy biohazard that becomes way harder to manage than it needs to be. By keeping them separate, you reduce the smell, you slow down bacterial growth, and you make safe disposal much easier. Not only that, but this allows you to conserve your absorbent materials, which we'll talk about in just a minute, because you only need to use them for solid waste. Here's the supplies you're going to need. 2 5-gallon buckets, a clip-on toilet seat lids, airtight if possible, heavy-duty 13-gallon plastic bags, absorbent carbon material. This can be pine shavings, pellets, even peat moss. You want a pair of good, sturdy nitrile gloves and a separate bag for soiled toilet paper, diapers, or other hygiene products. Now here's how the disposal process will kind of look. For your urine, you're going to dilute it with gray water. Gray water is water that has already been used for things like washing your hands, taking a shower, washing dishes. Don't use your good filtered water for this. You'll use your gray water to dilute your urine and pour it outdoors and make sure it's on grass that is nowhere near anything that you're growing for food. As for your number twos, you're going to be covering that with a carbon material after every use and let it dry if possible. Then you're going to double bag it and seal it in a pest-proof container for later disposal. In an extended emergency situation, we can bury it, but that is like last-ditch effort when it doesn't seem like septic and running water is going to be restored anytime soon. This system is cheap, scalable, and sanitary when used properly, so don't skip it. Okay, tip number 2 is going to be store meal kits and not just single ingredients. We talk a lot about stocking things in bulk here on this channel: rice, dried beans, pasta, and those are all good things. But when you are in an emergency situation, you are going to be tired, you are going to be stressed, the mental load is going to be more, and you do not want to be wasting valuable time and brain power on what to eat for dinner. So go ahead now and create your own DIY ready-to-cook meal kits. This can be as simple as rice, a bouillon cube, canned chicken, and a seasoning packet, or pasta, tomato powder, dried veggies, and a Parmesan packet, or even oats, powdered milk, cinnamon sugar, and dried fruit for a quick on-the-go breakfast. Pack each meal in a mason jar, which you can then vacuum seal with your pre-measured ingredients and even simple instructions if needed. In fact, I recommend making a week's worth of these meals now, store them in like a Rubbermaid bin, and try them out a few times a month. Check for taste, check for function, how does it all cook up, and then check for your family's morale. Is your family like, yum, or are they like, ooh, not again? I recommend this because testing your preps is so important, and these meal kits give you complete meals, not just a bland mixture of survival calories, and in a stressful situation, that's important. By the way, if you need to build or expand your food storage, we have a free 1-year food storage plan that breaks down a year's worth of food into week-by-week purchases that will not bust your budget. If you would like it, please comment food storage down in the comments below and we will send it straight to you. Why are we doing it this way? That's because we've had several of you reach out to us and tell us that it's hard to access links in the description box, especially if you're watching on a TV or a monitor or something like that. So this way, if you comment food storage in the comments below, you will get notified when we reply to you. It depends on how you have your notifications set. You'll either get an email that we replied to you, or you'll get a notification on your phone that we replied to you. Either way, the link will be really easy for you to access. Okay, moving on to tip number 3, and that is going to be fire starters. Yes, you can say there's plenty of trees around and there's plenty of wood. I'll just chop some down when I need it. Yeah, okay. Let's make it easier on ourselves, shall we? In fact, it doesn't have to cost a lot and it doesn't have to take up a lot of space. Case in point, corn cobs. We just published a video recently on no waste preservation methods, and several of you commented about using corn cobs as fire starters. All you have to do is dehydrate the corn cobs after you're done using them, whether you're processing them or just eating them fresh. They are lightweight, they burn hot, and they last quite a while. Some people soak them in kerosene and store them in a safe way in a safe place for future use. You can also gather and store dryer lint, cotton rounds that are soaked in petroleum jelly, or old candle stubs stored and placed in egg cartons, which create instant fire bricks. Whatever you do, just stash a tub of fire starters that are at the ready and don't rely on your physical ability to whip out an axe or a chainsaw in a moment's notice. Just saying. Okay, corn cobs segue beautifully into tip number 4, and that is know how to preserve food. Know how to can, know how to dehydrate, know how to smoke meat, but don't depend on a freezer. In a true preparedness situation, you need to either assume that you either don't have power at all or it is a precious commodity that you need to conserve. If your only backup plan is I'll just eat from my stockpile, spoiler alert, that's not a plan, that's a countdown. Here on the Food Prep Guide channel, we have made it easy for you to learn all of these skills and even how to grow your own food. We have playlists with hundreds of videos for canning recipes, best foods to dehydrate, gardening for beginners, meals in jars, and so much more. So please take advantage of our library. We would love to help you learn these skills, but finish this video first, please. We worked really hard on it and we're only halfway through the list. Tip number 5, learn how to make soap and basic hygiene items. Many people stockpile soap and that's great. I do it too, but we need to know how to make more when the supplies run out. Basic lye soap from ash and fat is a crucial long-term skill. Now, I am not an expert soap maker, but in this kind of situation, we're not needing pretty and scentsy. We just need cleanliness, and for that, we can do what our ancestors did, which is make soap using the ashes from our fire pit. There are some key safety aspects that you need to know, and for that I will direct you to a PDF by the New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs, which will be linked in the description box. Moving right along to tip number 6, make sure you have a basic sewing kit in your stockpile. A broken zipper, a missing button, a tear in your jeans can be annoying now, but it can turn into a serious problem later. At bare minimum, make sure your preps include a basic sewing kit with assorted needles, like for hand sewing and even heavy duty ones, strong thread, this could be polyester, it lasts longer than cotton, safety pins, small scissors or thread snips, a thimble, a seam ripper, extra buttons and a few zippers, and some heavy duty patches with either iron-on or sew-on. Also, toss in some floss. It works in an emergency situation for things like heavy canvas and leather. And if you want to take it a step further, learn these 3 critical skills. Number 1, know how to stitch a seam. Torn jeans, a ripped tent, or a popped backpack strap can be problematic. Knowing a basic back stitch or overcast stitch can keep your gear functional and wearable for many years to come. Number 2, fix or replace a zipper. Learn how to either realign a stuck zipper or replace a zipper slider or even sew in a new zipper if needed. YouTube has dozens of tutorials for this. You can practice on an old hoodie so that you know how to do it before you really need to do it. And last but not least, number 3, know how to reinforce your wear zones. These are areas like knees, elbows, cuffs, and shoulder straps because they break down faster, especially if you're doing manual work day after day. So learn how to sew on patches and or reinforce stitching. Tip number 7, have manual backups for critical digital assets. Phones are a luxury, paper equals survival. So you may want to print maps of your regions, your family's favorite recipes, first aid tips, different like wildlife trails in your area, just anything that you think you might need a hard copy of. And not only that, I would take it a step further and laminate it. Now, you don't even need a laminator these days to make it happen. They have these nifty little peel and stick pages. I use these all the time in our school. In case you're new here, we homeschool. You just rip off the adhesive backing, put this on the front, put another one on the back, and you have a laminated paper. The reason that's important is because now your papers are no longer subject to being destroyed by rain, water, streams, sweat. You get the picture. Now, obviously, we are talking on a platform right now that it needs an internet connection. So I highly recommend creating a 3-ring binder. If you, like me, you have a lot of your assets stored digitally, your favorite recipes, your favorite tutorials. You come to YouTube to learn about things just like most people do, but I highly recommend creating a how-to physical little handbook via 3-ring binder where you just print off your favorite recipes, how to preserve all your favorite foods, maybe critical information that you need to know to garden, critical information that you need to know for first aid, how to sew up a wound, how to disinfect something. Plant identification information is really important. Get those items into hard copy format. Okay, tip number 8, get yourself some cast iron. It is the ultimate emergency cookware. And if you have nothing else, get yourself a cast iron skillet and a cast iron Dutch oven. With those 2 items, you can pretty much cook anything you need to cook. Plus, they are pretty much indestructible, so they will last for generations. Now, while you're at it, go ahead and learn how to properly clean and season cast iron. We can't use soap on our cast iron to clean like we clean the rest of our dishes. It takes a little bit of a different strategy. Here's what to do instead. To clean it while the pan is still warm, scrub it with hot water and a stiff brush or something like a chainmail scrubber. For stuck-on food, you can use salt as a gentle abrasive. Dry it immediately. Don't let it air dry or it can rust. Cast iron rusts quickly. Whenever you start noticing food is starting to stick to the surface, you need to season it again. After drying, rub a thin layer of oil. This can be canola oil, vegetable oil, flaxseed oil, coconut butter, any kind of oil, over the entire surface, inside and outside. Then heat it on the stove or in the oven or over a campfire if we're in that kind of situation until it starts to smoke ever so slightly. This will bond the oil to the iron and keep it naturally non-stick. Over time, the more you use it and season it properly, the better and more non-stick it gets. Tip number 9, and it's a biggie, prepare for boredom. Everyone preps for food. Very few people prep for boredom, stress, and morale breakdown. You can be stuck inside or at home for weeks with no screens, no modern conveniences, and seemingly nothing to do. Although there's going to be plenty to do. You take away conveniences, you've got a lot of hard work on your hands. But anyway, that's beside the point. But that's when things start getting rough. As humans, when we struggle with morale, we also struggle with motivation, even sleep, decision making, even appetite. That's why you need a boredom bag, or what some might call a morale kit. This should be compact, easy to grab, and full of lightweight, high-impact mood boosters. This could be playing cards or travel games like Uno, Skip-Bo, Phase 10, or a mini chess set, or puzzle books like crosswords, Sudoku, riddles, word finds, or dice games like Yahtzee, Farkle, or even just a few standard dice with printed rules. And don't underestimate the power of a few comfort snacks. I'm talking about hard candy, chocolate, hot cocoa packets, gum, or even a single favorite item that you'd never put in your regular survival bin. And you know I'm going to say it, don't forget a Bible. It'll be your lifeline. Okay, last but not least, tip number 10, how to read the weather without a forecast. When the power or internet is gone, the clouds become your forecast. And when you are starting to deal with growing your own food, maybe you're using solar power, you're air drying your laundry outside, you're catching rainwater, being able to forecast the weather becomes critical. So learn to recognize cloud types. You've got your cumulonimbus. Those are the tall anvil-shaped clouds which can indicate strong storms are coming. Then you have your cirrus. Those are the wispy high clouds that often signal a weather change within 1 to 2 days. And then you've got your nimbostratus. Those are your flat gray sheets, which means rain or snow is likely. You also want to learn your wind shifts. A sudden shift in wind direction, especially from west or southwest, often means that a front is moving in. Warm, humid winds before a storm, cool downdrafts as one approaches. And if you smell that kind of rain smell, that really fresh, it's the smell of ozone, or you feel a pressure drop, a storm is probably imminent. Another thing you want to keep an eye on is animal behavior. When birds fly really low or suddenly go quiet, that's an indication that the pressure has dropped. And if dogs become restless, that's an indication that a storm is coming quickly. You also want to familiarize yourself with how barometric pressure feels. Low pressure often brings on headaches, joint pain, fatigue. Once you know how your body reacts, you'll start noticing it before the storm hits. So when Grandma says her knees tell her that a storm is coming, she's probably right. You can also keep a manual barometer on hand or use a small solar-powered weather station as a backup. This one is especially important if you, like me, have some sort of chronic condition. A drop in barometric pressure can mean an increase in symptoms. And I don't know about you, but if I have a very sudden bad day where I have just crashed, my symptoms are going crazy, and there's no reason for it, it gets a little bit scary. But when you know that it's caused by something like the weather, you know, okay, I can push through this. This is temporary. The storm's going to come, the storm's going to go, and we'll get back to baseline. It's a whole lot easier to handle mentally. So familiarizing yourself with barometric pressure is pretty priceless. Okay, friends, that is all I have for you today. Listen, most people stop prepping at food, but as you've seen in this video, that's really just the beginning. These overlooked skills and supplies are what separate kinda ready from truly prepared. Don't forget, if you're interested in the 1-year food storage plan, comment food storage in the comments below and we'll send it straight over. That's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!